Additionally, Drake's new loser link-up rules are already replicating the odd issues that led to the Anita Max Win Tour's early cancellation only a few months after it was a total disaster. Now that Drake and Party Next Door are doing special shows for your tour, the 40-year-old man who prefers to be called the boy is becoming more concerned. Drake is making an effort to leave the boardrooms after only a few shows and at least give his fans the impression that he is getting back into the business. Whether it's via standard Central C partnerships or just doing one-hour films where he and Pinocchio are filming a chase scene. No matter how we interpret Drake, one thing is clear from all of his recent initiatives. Despite all of his mistakes and horrible actions, he is trying. People may still be excited to see a Drake concert in 2025 despite everything, including the release of new songs, content that annoys everyone, and shows meant to revitalize any lingering interest. Drake is now working hard to win back as many fans as he can. In reference to his fans and the remaining loyal fans who would still want to go to an OVO karaoke event because they still exist. Well, now for these people who are just obsessed with the most muted, soothing, and unimpressive music ever. Drake doesn't seem to care about those who have stuck with him through thick and thin, nor does he seem to desire to keep them around any longer. It was one of the most confusing touring choices I have ever seen, particularly at this time, and in many respects, because of what Drake did less than a day before a gig on the SSS for You tour. Upon closer inspection, Drake's actions rank among the worst concert cancellations in recent memory. Drake's show, which was initially planned for July 28th in Manchester, has been cancelled, according to recent announcements. Drake's agents and the venue have provided the following explanation. The concert in Manchester tomorrow, July 28th, has been rescheduled due to an unexpected ferry schedule and travel complications. Now, if Drake had been in a different city or area at the time of the event and there had been some travel issues, it may make sense why this performance wouldn't be taking place. Nevertheless, Drake has been in Manchester for the last few days since he played here on the 25th and 26th, as you can see for yourself when we look at the tour's logistics. How, therefore, could there be issues with travel for which you and your group couldn't find a solution? Because this is just absurd. It is one of the busiest parts of the music business when it comes to traveling, and Drake is mostly responsible for drawing large crowds to this performance, particularly because the venues are the same ones they have played at. One of the simplest jobs since your team can still unwind because the stage is fully assembled and assembled, saving them from having to deal with one of the most challenging and time-consuming parts of traveling, putting it up and taking it down. You basically realize at that time that everything else has already been planned, and that the performers and staff who really manage all of the other backstage elements of the performance must be there. Once again, this is illogical and does not add up. Considering how well these events are organized and how traveling works, especially with such well-known superstars as Drake, you really don't just cancel a show in this way unless something unforeseen occurs, much like the odd cancellation of the Anita Max Win tour dates. As we can see, Drake is still lounging and acting like his pitiful former self. He still makes dumb videos for Drake, goes out in public, listens to music, and does TikToks, which has just made Drake seem even more idiotic. Given all that has transpired, it is clear that Drake's approach was untouched by any personal factors. Only two more causes may have led to the cancellation of this performance after that realization. Poor ticket sales would seem to be the reason if this finale were to mimic the end of the Anita Max Triumph tours. Now, each of them tried to use the idea of travel issues and logistics to provide the same explanations for why these events would not take place. Once again, however, when we put this into effect, these events were painstakingly organized over many months, and all of the details, including the travel itinerary, were settled upon before they were even made public. Once again, it just does not make sense, regardless of how you put it. The internet makes it quite evident that Drake has ruined their plans, and these folks are incensed given the way these performances look and the large volume of people that were anticipated to attend. All things considered, Drake's condemnation of these people for taking time off work and traveling to this event at this exact moment has destroyed their whole life. To be honest, I don't think ticket sales are to blame. We are now seeing such a direct and brief notice of a cancellation, which is upsetting actual people's schedules, lives, and even their budgets, as people come to these places, make reservations, travel, and all of that. Now you've done it all for nothing. Ultimately, all you have to do is begin to really consider Drake's situation. Because, well, before the event was packed, many people were wondering, why would you do this with no good reason, which has become clear that there really wasn't. In addition, the reaction we have gotten is a wholly false one. Upon closer examination, this does, in fact, highlight Drake's primary problem as a whole and the reasons he has been among the worst musicians, and more importantly, hip-hop artists that we have ever seen. This guy is really lazy and just thinks about himself and his little, self-centered world, which is what I mean by this and the reason Drake ultimately stopped this program. Other shows are being rescheduled since Drake is just delaying this one, so you are basically destroying your own tour without any explanation. Are you just being lazy and doing this? At the moment, it seems that this is a commitment issue. Since you're someone like Drake who has been here before and you have all these private jets and the like, you can get anything unlocked at any time by just flexing. People are still traveling and attending the show in spite of the present boat issue, regardless of what's going on your end. Your inability to go to the arena to perform in a venue that is already set up for your requirements is the real reason. And now that Drake is canceling these events once again, it will be the 5th time in his career that performances and his escape from the US either don't happen at all or don't proceed as planned. Regardless of your stance on the Drake versus Kendrick controversy and its ramifications, these incredible moments are currently occurring all over the globe. However, since April, Kendrick Lamar has been playing rain or shine and has never canceled a gig on the Grand National Tour. When Drake phones in and out of work, he acts like the worst colleague you have ever had. In contrast, Kendrick performs at concerts that are bigger than Drake's, even in his prime, and just shows up every night and does what people come for. But the causes of the present situation in so many areas of the music industry are becoming clear to us once again. I'm sorry, but Drake was never even close to it in his prime, which is the real reason Kendrick Lamar has achieved this level. Once again, you are making a significant statement for hip-hop as a whole and what its potential may be in this context, even if you are the first rapper to introduce the genre to a stadium tour. This is because Kendrick always delivers and never lets expenses or expectations get in the way of his incredible performances, which carry a lot of stakes. Since Kendrick doesn't bring turmoil to the production of these shows, which again, even when anything is canceled or delayed, results in a loss for everyone, he is ultimately proving to the public and the industry that he can be a trustworthy leader in whatever profession you choose to assign him to. As a former tour worker, I will also add that in contrast to those who came out here and spent all of their money, this team and every tour member who is going to lose money over this will have to travel back to see Drake next month. Workers at these companies are now expected to report for duty on a day other than the one they were initially scheduled to. And this may cause a lot of people's plans and schedules to be disturbed. Overall, this is just not fun. And again, another example of Drake's blatant lack of professionalism, showing why he should never have been let to represent hip-hop for so long instead of just being a Karen or anything. While everyone is watching Drake and trying to make a final return, at least he is still engaging in these corny old games. Drake keeps rescheduling shows, while Kendrick Lamar is selling out stadiums and delivering legendary performances. Fans are starting to notice the difference, and it's raising questions: who's really on top now? Is Drake spiraling again?